and welcome back to Granted Gardens. My name is Melissa and I'm a plantaholic. Hello everybody and Happy New Year. Today I am doing some work on my indoor plants, okay? And this is something I like to do at least once a winter. I will try to bring together as many of my indoor plants as possible and just go through them with a fine-tooth comb. Make sure that anything that's dead is pulled out or trimmed off. Make sure that the moisture in the soil is proper. Make sure that there aren't any bugs or any other issues. So today I've got the large majority of my plants here on the kitchen table, and I figured that while I was doing this, I would go ahead and walk you guys through all of the indoor plants that I have. I did a video like this last year, but you'll notice that a lot of the plants have changed or grown or are no longer with us from my videos last year. I've gone through a process of getting rid of a lot of my plants. So I sold a few, I gave a few away, and this is what I have with me still so far. So let's check it out. So I'll walk you guys through one by one, but what a shot this is. I do love my indoor houseplants, but like I said, they've changed a bit. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with this one. This one is the same one that was here with me last year. This plant is an ivy that I got from my grandmother and grandfather's house in Tennessee. They had a large ivy plant there in the front of their house, and when they moved, I dug some up and brought it with me. This actually was on the verge of pure death this winter. And when I say pure death, I mean pure death. Like, for some reason, over the winter time last year, it just was barely holding on. And there was maybe 2 or 3 green leaves on this vine by the time that it was warm enough for me to take it outside. But once it got warm enough for me to take it outside, I took it outside, I left it on the deck, and it bounced right back. It actually got to the point where it was doing so well that it was trying to grow roots on some of these vines. So I did go ahead and trim off a couple pieces where it looked like it was starting to root, and I put them in water and rooted them. So I was able to plant those once they rooted back in this pot. So that's a really great way if you've got plants that, that root naturally like that and they're dying off. If you can get a healthy branch and cut it off and then root it in water, it's basically like planting a brand new plant. So that also helped kind of bring this back and fill this in a little bit. So I did have it outside over the summer, so you can see we have a couple volunteer little weeds in here, if you will. But you can see that all of the plants are really healthy, and you can see here is an example of where it's starting to kind of root itself. So those little furs here, those little pickers here are actually roots. The plant is trying to put off roots, and it's like that all throughout the plant. I'm just gonna try and find another example. I can't really find one right now, but it'll do that very often all the way throughout the plant. So obviously I wouldn't trim this one off because it's one of the main branches. But if you find it, say, along the edge of maybe up here, or maybe towards the ends like this, you can kind of see where they're starting to try and root. Then you can go ahead and just cut off this little bit, put it in water, and then it'll grow into a whole new plant. Now, while I do sift through my plants, I take note of here, you can tell that there is some kind of like a mold maybe growing in the dirt here, so that's something I'll need to address. I also look for stuff like this, if you can see. Not entirely sure what that is, but it's not supposed to be there. Here's another example. So whatever that is, you know, that's what I'm looking for as I'm going through my plants. If there's something that stands out that just doesn't look right, it gives me an opportunity to address it. So that's really what I'm looking for right now. And then inside here, these are two little birds, ceramic birds that I had gotten from Free Cycle, and I had this bird cage, so I hung it in there, and I just thought that that looked really cute, wrapped up in the vines. So what I'm gonna do is I just took a paper towel here and put some water on it and then some dish soap on the paper towel. It's just damp, it's not soaking wet. And I'm gonna just go over the leaves and wipe off that stuff. That way, if it's eggs, I'm getting them off. If it's some kind of a bacteria, hopefully this will help get it off and maybe kill it. But we're gonna start there and see if that improves the issue at all. This is really hard to do one-handed, but I'm just gently rubbing, and for the most part, it's coming right off. Like you can see I started down here. This stuff's coming right off. So I'm gonna do on this core branch, but then you also wanna make sure that you look really closely at these like offshoots and the backs of the leaves too. Make sure you get them nice and clean. So that's plant number one. Here, this one was dying off a couple months ago. I did go through and trim out some of the ferns that were dying off. Like this one I'll probably trim out. This one I'll probably cut out so that there's room for new growth, but I am getting a lot of new growth in here too, so I'm not too worried about that. Just making sure if there's any sick or disease on the plant that I'm addressing it. This one here, I get a lot of bugs on usually as well. It doesn't look like I've got anybody right now, but I'll just look down at the dirt and the roots, make sure everything looks healthy. And then I'll go through and then I'll just trim these off as close as I can get down to the base of the plant. I'll trim off the whole branch. And I don't know what this is called. I mean, it's obviously a fern of some sort. I got this from a lady down the road. She didn't want it anymore, so I took it off her hands. This I know is Pathos. I don't know if it's like a specific kind outside of that, but this one I actually got as a cutting, and I put it in water, rooted it, and then once it grew roots, I went ahead and put it in some soil here, and it's doing just fine in this tiny little pot. I water everything once a week, and I gave them just a little drizzle. I try not to overwater them because there's no way for this pot to drain. So he's happy as can be. This one here is Jade that we got from Tyler's mom. He's doing just fine. I don't really know what this is all about. We did have him in the kitchen, so I'm wondering if it's just like something got dribbled on him. It kind of feels like salt, so I don't know, maybe something just got drizzled on him, but that's the stuff that I'm looking for. Just if something looks different and stands out, I'll just make sure that I address it. This is also a spider plant that we got from Tyler's mom. I put him in this little container here for now until he gets a little bit bigger, and then we'll give him something larger. These are green onions. I always try to remember to put my green onions in water. You can see that these have been chopped on recently, but these have actually been chopped on at least twice, if not 3 times by now. If you just put them in water in a cup, they will continue to grow. So don't throw your money, don't waste your money, don't throw your money away. If you buy green onions, go ahead, put them in some water, just a little bit of water down there, and they will continue to grow, and you will get more bang for your buck. This little plant, he's actually starting to turn yellow. He's probably about 2 years old now. This came out of a bouquet that Tyler bought me. And again, I just trimmed off the bottom, stuck him in some water, and he's been surviving for like literally over a year, if not longer. He does have little seeds coming off of him though. I don't know, maybe I'll try and collect seeds and grow something from him. Oh, my aloe plant. My aloe plant. I love my aloe plant deeply, but he is high maintenance. I have him in this pot here. I probably could up pot him into something larger, but he kind of grows to the side a little bit. No particular reason. It's not like it's the way that faces light or anything, but he like can't stand up on his own, so he falls over frequently, and that's where the chip has come from. And he obviously fell over today when I was bringing him over here. But he's pretty big. He's beautiful. So I follow a lot of plant groups on Facebook, obviously. And somebody had posted an aloe plant the other day mentioning something along the lines of if they should up pot it. And there was a couple of responses saying that aloe actually prefers smaller spaces. This aloe plant is happier than all get out in that tiny little pot, other than the fact that he leans a little and likes to tumble down. But I don't know. So I'm going to do some homework on that. I'm probably going to leave him like this at least now through the winter until spring. But he's not had a problem at all in there. So I might end up just leaving him in too. This guy here is my prized curly spider plant. I love him. He does, like, they do actually curl, if you can tell. I know my aloe's like holding on to the spider plant right now for dear life so that he doesn't fall over. But they do curl, like the little leaves here. They're really pretty. And he has a ton of babies. I have been giving some of the babies away. I sold a few of them. I'm also rooting a bunch of them as well, and I'll show you that setup here in a minute. But I love this curly spider plant. I actually got this from a lady down the road as well. So I saw this thing on Facebook Marketplace the other day that I thought was super neat. And it was fairly expensive in the big scheme of things, I thought. And I was like, I looked at that and I was like, I can make that. So I did, and this is what it is. So this is where I root my spider plants, my curly spider plants. It's really cute. I made this and I thought it was awesome. It's these little glass jars with the corks. This one obviously doesn't have anything in it right now. I take the corks out when I have a plant to put in there. So I put my plants in and fill it with water and they root, which is awesome. I think it's super cute. And then it can hang here in my window. So I have one in the kitchen window and one in the bathroom window. So some of these plants, I honestly don't know what they are. A lot of them I got either from like Free Cycle or they were gifted to me, but we'll continue going through here. So this is an example of one of the plants that I have no idea what it is, but we did have a bug problem with this one, that I had little white bugs that were in the soil. I did end up like taking the soil out and replacing it with different soil. And it looks like that problem disappeared. These guys are really dry. I need to water them. They will get watered while they're on here too. But I just think this is a really pretty plant. I love it. I think that the leaves on it and the spikiness is so fun. I love spiky plants. These two here are little ferns that I got from Mother Earth News, the Mother Earth News fair a couple years ago. This guy's not doing too hot. He was actually a last minute ad, literally just a few weeks ago, I think. I tossed him in this pot. He is going to end up with a different home if he can make it to spring. He just needs to make it to spring. Make it to spring, and then I will completely fix that. But this one loves this little glass jar, and that was another thing I got. I just kind of picked it up and decided that, hey, it would work out perfect for my plants. All right, back here, this I believe is actually a plant from when I was in high school. I used to take horticulture, and again, I'm not entirely sure what this is. I used to take horticulture in high school, and so I think my mom has the main plants that I had, but I think I took a little bit from her, and that's what that guy is. I have another one of these somewhere, but he's just not doing quite as good, so we'll show you this one. So one more thing that I'm going to try and do while I'm here is clean up my plants a bit. Sometimes when you have houseplants, you might notice that they get a little dusty. So what you can do while you're going through and checking on your plants is you can clean off some of the leaves. It's really simple. You can just get a small clean paintbrush and a little cup of water, and I'll show you how I clean off my leaves. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just take my brush, dip it in some water here. You don't need a ton of water, just a little bit. And then we'll come over to a leaf, and I just gently, very gently, brush the leaf with just the water. And the idea is we're just trying to get the dust off. It's important to try and get the dust off of the leaves, obviously, because that is also how they absorb sunlight. So if they're super coated in something, it's going to be hard for them to absorb sunlight. And being that they're already indoor plants, you want to make sure that they're getting as much access to sun as they possibly can. Something else that I'm extremely intrigued by is growing plants from kitchen scraps. Yeah, you heard me. Free plants from kitchen scraps. I love it, and I'm like kind of addicted to it. So I've got some things I'll show you here. My two favorite things in the world are growing from avocado seeds and growing the tops of pineapples. And they can make some pretty cool looking plants, so check it out. So this one here, this is my avocado plant. And I'm super proud of this. I grew him from the seed of an avocado that we purchased from the grocery store. This is the oldest surviving avocado tree that I have to date. I believe he is about 1.5 years old at this point. I'm pretty interested because recently he kind of sprouted off and started going a new direction. So it's a learning experience with these guys. Like I said, I've never gotten any further than this. And I absolutely love him. And I do have a little piece of jade plant in here that's rooting because it fell off. And look, it's working. We're getting roots. So the story behind my avocados. I have grown quite a few avocados from seed, which is not the easiest thing to do. I'm going to be honest with you. It's hard. You need to be patient. I've grown quite a few and I've lost them all. Some to squirrels, some to bugs, and some to just pure bad luck. But I'm super proud of this one, and I'm hoping that this one sticks with me. My next absolute favorite plant to grow from kitchen scraps is pineapple plants, okay? I do not understand why people throw away the tops of their pineapples. I don't get it. It is so easy to grow plants from the tops of pineapples. Now, mind you, I have, I think, 4 pineapple plants in this house right now that I grew from the tops of pineapples. I've given away some. I've sold some. Here's the thing. I can grow the plant, but I have yet to actually grow a pineapple from the plant. So, going further into detail on that, it takes a long time for you to grow a pineapple. Based off of the information that I have uncovered, it's anywhere from 1 year to 2 years before you could potentially get a pineapple. That's also in the right setting, okay? So your plant needs to be super comfortable in order to provide fruit. My plants that are in these pots are not in their ideal climate. Okay, if they could pick, they would be someplace tropical with a ton of root space. That's not what they have. I don't live in the tropics, and I can't plant them outside, so I have to put them in pots. On the flip side, they are fun plants to just have. They're beautiful. They can get really big, and they're great to put into a pot and set out to decorate around your house. So if you're interested in free plants, grow some pineapple plants. All right, so here are 2 of my 4 pineapple plants that I have. This one here, I just love this pot. It's a little teapot. Isn't that so cute? So he's younger of the 2. I'm not sure how old he is though. I would say he's about 1 year old. And look at how tall. I mean, like, they get so big. They get so big and they're so pretty. I like the spikes. And then this is a second one that I have. This one here is about 2 years old. And I say that because I just remember when we planted them. Now this one is doing something that I've never seen any of my pineapple plants do before. And this here is the main section, the main stalk of the pineapple plant that we planted, okay? And then now it's kind of doing this offshoot thing. So we've got like 2 stalks coming out of the same plant. Not sure if that means we can expect a pineapple. I don't know, but it would be really cool. But yeah, so those are my pineapple plants. It would be really cool if I got a pineapple. Just saying. Okay, I did bring the other one over here. So this one's a little sickly looking. To be completely honest with you, I have almost lost this plant and that plant multiple times. And then, I don't know, by like the grace of God, I have brought them back to life. This guy's not dead, okay? And he's got new growth, like it's happening, but for some reason this just keeps happening too. So again, I'm pulling these up here to take a good look at stuff, figure out what I need to research. I'll do some homework on this and fix this guy, but there he be. Look. There's 3 out of the 4 of the pineapple plants. This one's really old. This one we've had probably 2 years or longer. Yeah, so my pineapple peeps, my pineapple trio, they're so cute. They're so easy to grow. They're so cute. Just do it. So this next one that I'm about to show you is pretty awesome. It was gifted to me by a lady that was moving to Poland, I believe, years ago. And she had a ton of plants in her house and they just couldn't afford to ship them. So she was giving them all away and she was like, please take good care of it and you can keep this one. And I just thought that this was super special. It was like literally this glamorous the day I got it, but thank goodness I haven't heard it yet. So it's super happy. I found a really cool spot for it in the house and it loves it and I love this. So I'm gonna show you. So this is my bamboo plant that I was gifted, okay? Now you can't really get the whole picture here until I stand it up and it touches the ceiling. This is my bamboo that I was gifted and I love it. And if you look really closely, if I can lay this down without them breaking, if you look really closely in here, you can see the main bamboo. It's like one stalk and it's twisty and it's a little dirty, it looks like. But you can see that there. And I'm sure that that looks familiar to a lot of people. I'm sure we've all seen like that bamboo for sale or whatever places, but it's just like that, normally that one stalk. To see it this big, I just think is so awesome. So it's one of my favorite plants. All right, we're gonna circle around down here, excuse the dog bowl. This is my snake plant, which I also love. I've wanted a snake plant for forever. I got this from a plant swap 2 years ago. And it has some babies that have been offshoots of it, and I love it, and it's so cool. Another really easy plant to take care of. It does not require a lot of light. It does not require a lot of water. Very simple to take care of. And then over here is one of 3 ferns that I have in the house. Ferns are my spirit plant. Like, you know how people have spirit animals? Ferns are my spirit plant. I just love them. I don't know why. It's so hard for me to pass one and not buy it. I just love them. Okay, so we're gonna start traveling. Oh, I gotta get my picture in. Look at that picture, and that's so cute. So we're gonna start traveling around the house a little bit here because some of these were just too gosh darn big for me to pick up and lug into the kitchen, okay? So this next one is number 4 of 4 pineapple plants that we have in the house. And this one, I decided that I was gonna try and put in a big pot just to see if it was any different, like if we got any kind of a different growth or, I don't know, maybe a pineapple out of it if it was in a larger pot. So I'll show you him. All right, so he's in a great big pot, heavy duty pot. And again, this is why we spend time going through. We've got mushrooms growing in the pot, which is weird because this is super dry. Interesting. So yeah, so here's my other pineapple plant. So this is number 4. This one also is about a year old. No, this one's 2 years old. So he hasn't like done bad, but he hasn't done anything like extra either, by so far, at least not so far, by being in this. We up potted him into this big pot probably the beginning of the spring, this past spring. Might have been more like the end of the spring though, now that I think about it. It might have been more like right before fall. So maybe next season, once he gets like a whole season in this pot, maybe he'll do something else for us. All right, this next one, bit of an embarrassment. I made a mistake and I took this plant outside late in the season. Right when it was still summer, but it was getting ready to change to fall, but it was like super, super hot days. And I put him outside and I think that it was just like a culture shock. Like it was still way too hot and it hurt him. So this is another one of my ferns. Yeah, I'm hoping again to just keep him alive long enough to get him to spring next year and then introduce him slowly outside instead of just putting him out there. I know I messed up. That was my bad. But I have a feeling that if I can just do that, maybe he'll pop back the same way that the one in the kitchen did when I took it outside. I have faith. I have faith. Just hang in there. Just hang in there, little dude. But yeah, there he be. I have faith. And here is Big Mama, okay? Now these ferns were gifted to me from another person down the road. His mother had passed away and he told me that I could have the plants as long as I promised to take good care of them, which I'm trying. And he, like, it was so precious because he just said, I just don't want my mom's plants to die. And he's like, I don't know what to do with them. I have no idea what I'm doing. So he gave them to me and I love them. So here's Big Mama. Yeah, hello. So I don't know if you can tell. She's huge. I did recently just turn her. So she's actually even bigger on the back side because it's kind of spilling over more. But being in this corner, she doesn't get even amounts of light. So I did turn her, but you can see there is new growth coming. She's totally happy. There is a lot of like sticks and stuff in here from like pine trees that is just hard to clean out. But maybe I will get to that today now that I'm working on some plants. Try and clean this up a bit. But definitely one of my favorites. So beautiful. And then while we're here, this is Mr. Fish. Yes, that's his name because we never actually named him. And he would like to show you his plant. His favorite plant in the entire world. Right, Mr. Fish? Is this pathos, and you can see the roots here. And right up here, there he is. So this pathos plant, I don't even remember where I got this from. I think a plant swap. But it's really cool because betta fish love pathos and they will actually come up and he'll snuggle up right here in the roots of the plant and he sleeps in there. He sleeps all snuggled up in the roots. It's so cute. Well, I think that's about it for everything I've got in the house, at least for today, because tomorrow, who knows? But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you have a favorite indoor plant, please comment below because I'm always interested in getting and adding more to my collection. Thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to sharing more with you soon.